also technology has been incredible in terms of moving us forward. Technology not just in healthcare, but technology in jobs and in creating a new life for yourself. We're going to get to what you're doing in terms of the Center for the American Dream, but tell me what you're seeing right now in the jobs market. Truck drivers are needed. You're seeing technology replace certain areas. What would you say the status of the jobs market?
Well, when you look at a study, right, you say, why are people, thinking about socialism? We could look at Venezuela and how that resulted. But they're scared. They're concerned about the future. And this country was built on the American dream and the chance and opportunity to try and try again. And so they're concerned. When you look at what type of jobs are going to be replaced, it's directly related to the price of that job. The more you're being paid, the less likely that that job will be automated. Second, the more education you have. If you have less than a high school education, you have a 40% probability that that job you have could be eliminated through automation. A college degree, we're under 5. So people are scared. It's understandable. They're searching for some strong ground and safety. And what about their future? And that is the challenge we have in a free enterprise system. We have to come forward and let people know they'll have an opportunity. We're going to afford you retraining. We're going to find different models so you don't get out of college with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And so this is the challenge of our free enterprise system. Can we find solutions? Now, we've had 3 dramatic things that have occurred here and during the last 2 years of this administration. One, I owned a company that was like a for-profit YPO, 10,000 CEOs. And we asked them what were they interested in. One, they wanted to know the administration believed in the free enterprise system. 2, they could not deal with 15 different regulatory agencies. They're a small business. They're creating most of the jobs. They can't take a different person every day coming to tell them what to do. And that has been changed. And 3, they wanted an evening of the tax code for partnerships and corporations, similar to other countries. And they got that. And I would say 4, kind of icing on the cake, these opportunity zones to rebuild our inner cities of America. And encourage people that we should create jobs in these areas. That groundwork has energized millions of small businesses.
Right. And they're getting access to capital. I would argue this rollback in regulations could be even more impactful than the lower taxes, because what you just said, a small business can't deal with 15 different regulators. Let me ask you about what you're creating right now in Washington, and that is the American Dream Center. Tell us about it.
Well, when I think of my life and how it changed, I wanted to run our space program after Sputnik. And I went to Berkeley, and all of a sudden I'm home during the summer, and August 11th, 1965, and the Watts riots occurred. And I met a young African-American man who told me he wasn't part of the American dream. His father would never have access to capital. He wouldn't because he was an African-American. So I went back to Berkeley and switched my major to finance and said, okay, we have to solve this problem. We have to have people believe, if they have ability and ideas, that the people will afford them access to capital. So it's now 53 years later. And as I think about that, these challenges in America are, do they have a chance at the American dream? And people are questioning that today. You have these studies showing that not just in America, but in Europe, people think that they will not have as good a life as their parents did. Now, that was always different. They would have a better life. So we felt we needed to create a center to energize people, to reinforce the view that everyone has a chance at the American dream. And this American dream is a chance based on your ability, what you could achieve. Now, those elements are important. Education's important as a framework. Healthcare, if you're not feeling well and you're burdened or have short lives, you're not going to have that same. And lastly, there were 2 others. One, the access to capital and the role it plays, and then the role of the entrepreneur, that individual with a new idea that changes the world as we know it. And those are the 4 pillars of this center. And we want to open it to every single person in this country to inspire them with stories of thousands of people that they have that chance also.
That the American dream allows you to work really hard and achieve success no matter where you come from.
Well, that dream, that American dream, is alive and well all around the world. When you look at a study of people, let's say, that have $1 million or more in China, 41% of them in the latest poll want to move to the United States. Okay, so
wow.
whether you're in Africa or Asia, and this might be the Rwanda dream, not just the American
wow.
dream.
Are you comfortable with what's happening between the U.S. and China right now in terms of this trade dispute?
Well, they're trying to work out what that relationship is. You know, in China, if you step back, and for thousands of years, you never protected IP. If it was a good idea, the emperor wanted everyone to have it. If it was a bad idea, he wanted everyone not to have it. And as you were building your economy, you never really had a system to protect intellectual property. Now that you can create intellectual property yourself, some of the great companies in the world, Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, are in China.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little more mutual, and hopefully we'll find a solution very soon.
Mike, it's good to see you this morning.
Great to see you.
So many words of wisdom. Mike Milken joining us.